Uh-huh. All right, Fiddle Jammers, it's been a while. I've been out of the scene a little bit. Did some other things in life. Bought a house, rehabbing it. And backed off from so many videos and content on my site. But I'm getting back into it now. I'm in my new digs here. Getting used to it, getting things set up. I don't have anything on the back wall behind. It's kind of blank so far. You can see this case or something hanging on. Instrument over there. Anyways. So I want to do a bunch of things. I've been thinking a bunch about this and get restarted with you guys. And one of the things I want to do is support the book I released last year. It was actually a republish of the book. My second book, after the Fiddle Jam book came out with Hal Leonard all over the world, I did an A-Toodz book of licks and tricks. It's called Fiddle Jam, Rock and Blues, A-Toodz for violin and fiddle. And I thought one of the things I might do is actually spend a little time playing through some of these if I'm practicing. If you have the book, you can play along. If you want to do it by ear, you can kind of play along by ear. Just try it at home. All these exercises and licks and tricks in the book are meant to be heard and then repeated. They're written out once in the book, but they're to a double bar on the book in the staff music if you read staff music, and you can hear me play it once and you can play it back. And another thing you can do is not have the music in front of you, even if you know how to read, and hear me play it and then try and play it back by ear. You can do things by looking at my fingers, looking at what string you think I'm on, and listening, and I'll give you hints and stuff like that too. So it's not a static track. I will just practice along with you. I'll give you an example of this before we dive into it. Say the first lesson is in the key of G. Now every key in this book, I think I did 16 different major and minor keys. Not all keys, but the most popular ones in violin. Every key has 3 levels. The example, the key of G, which is the first exercise, has level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 1 is easy stuff, all first position, all sticking just to major pentatonic in this case. The level 2 gets into some of the blues notes that you throw in, and 3 gets into more crazy stuff. So after we run to the scale in this exercise, we have it open in front of you, the key of G major. In measure 9, it gets into single string work. It's quite easy, just like this. That's on the G string, and you could repeat it with me. Ready, go. Pretty easy, right? Next one, at measure 10, is... Then you'd play... Get the idea? You just repeat after me the best you can. If you want to do by ear, that's fine. If you want to read it from the book, that's fine. The book is available on the website in the store. I think it's 20 bucks. So I think it's about 100 pages. Well worth it. Measure 11. Ready, go. That's on the D string. So you can see that this would be like beginner stuff. Not too hard. Open 1, 3, 3, 1, open. It moves forward. Again, this is not meant to be the main practice session for this. Just giving you examples. It gets eventually to cross strings on the G string. Measure 15 if you're following along in the book. Measure 16. Uh-huh. 17. You. 18. You see, it has that vibe with a major pentatonic. It's training you for the cool stuff and rock and blues based roots music, non-classical approaches. After going through some patterns and working with this stuff quite well, a whole page of that, on level 2, on the second page of the book, it gets into throwing the blue notes in the flatted third. If you don't know what the flatted third is, there's plenty of lessons on the site to learn about this, and I will explain more. Then measure 37 in the G major is... It's open, 2, low 2, 2. It's getting you used to these notes that get thrown in. key with the B flat. It gets to be kind of cool sounding, doesn't it? We add the flatted 7th later in measure 46. That's F in the key of G. Now you might know, if you know your scales, F sharp is the normal note in the key of G. But we have most modern music, blues-based stuff, uses the flatted 7 way more than the major 7th. So you're just training your ears and fingers for this stuff. So again, measure 46. Ready, go. And you try it. Goes up an octave. 48. $49. Oh. So I used both things there, the flat 7th and the flatted 3rd. Gets to that saucy, nasty kind of stuff. What do you think? You like it? I think it's a pretty good book and useful if you're trying to develop muscle memory for the cool stuff. Later we add the flat 5th. In the key of G, it's this. That sassy note, the flatted 5th. In the classical music, we call that the devil's tone. Or the tritone, some people call it. Why it's called the tritone is a whole other theory lesson. It's simply because it's 3 whole steps from the tonic to that note, and another 3 whole steps from that note to the octave. And so it's kind of weird. Back in the classical day, Bach's day, you would have been tossed out of church if you threw that interval in. Anyways, but we're here to break the rules. So again, measure 54 in the book if you're following only G major. And you try. 55. If you're trying that by ear, it might be a little weird at first. It's D flat, open D, D flat, open E, and I use the low 4th finger. I think it just flops right there quite easy, more easily than raising your 3rd. So low 4, 4, and then low 2, the flat 3rd, sliding to 3. Again, this gets into the cool stuff. After that, I get into, in every exercise, every key is the same format. I get into double strings. Measure 60, we're looking ahead. Get you ready for it. 61 is puts them together. Doing the same easy notes with drone strings, as they're called, it fills up the bluegrass and fiddling worlds like crazy. So that's good training. Getting on to the 3rd page, level 3 exercises. Now, if there's interest in this, I may go back and re-release just all the level 1s together as a package, all the level 2s together. Of course, right now, the only thing I have available is all 3 levels in the full book. You can jump around in that book as you see fit. But in the 3rd level, let me know if there's interest in that, by the way. Give me some comment somewhere. We continue more of this stuff, more double drones, and throwing in all the blue notes together. We do some parallel fifths, which is straight across. And that might sound hard. It's a bit hard in the eyes at first if you're reading it. It's not that hard. Before I explain too much, measure 81. Might sound kind of weird, kind of oriental, maybe. Maybe kind of rock and roll. Rock and roll uses a lot of fifths. They're kind of hard to get in tune on the violin. You got to kind of nestle your finger between the strings equally. 82. Kind of weird. So parallel fifths aren't used a lot, but they are thrown in sometimes in solos, especially in more advanced newgrass stuff. I hear those kind of things every once in a while. Then get into what I called mixo-bluesian scale. Mixo-bluesian scale is the mixed up when all these things are mixed together. There isn't a real name for this scale that I've heard. I've asked even famous people, what do we call that scale? We all play it, but there's no name for it. So it's really when major pentatonic and minor pentatonic and all the blue note tricks get mixed together. So the scale would be I just played across measure 85 through 87, showing you that. And backwards, 88 through 90. So you notice I didn't do them all sequentially and just going downward, because a lot of times those sliding notes do slide up. So I tried to put them in musical phrases, musical examples. You like it? Now in level 3, you always get to a a crazy bit at the end. I did that on purpose, so even the classically trained player might stumble a little bit in reading it because it's pretty crazy. I'll go over it slow, see if you like it. Here's the mix of bluesy and licks from measure 91 in the G major exercises. Okay, that's measure 93. A little strange at the end, but it sounds cool for the key of G. And you definitely, if you get to that point, your fingers and your ears will be used to this kind of thing, especially if you're a classically trained player. You want to get hip. This is the cool stuff that you never teach in school, and I learned on the gig in real life by studying jazz and blues and rock music and playing in jazz fusion bands and Cajun bands. This is all the stuff that you'll want to know if you want to get hip and play in these styles, the modern styles. So I hope that gives you an idea of the stuff that we can handle in this book and the stuff that I plan on doing in the future. I'd like to do a regular sit down in front of the camera and post-it session. I'd love to get your comments, whether you like this or not. I'll do different keys, different majors and minors, and we'll run through the hip stuff. If you want me to go through every note and every lick, that's fine. If you want me to just give you some highlights like this, we can do that. And if there's other things you want me to learn or teach you, or both, I don't mind learning something to teach you. Let me know in the comments. Feel free and stay in touch, and I'll be staying in better touch with you. That's my promise now. I'm going into a new phase of a bunch of things in my life, and glad that you might be a part of it. So amen, and let's rock and roll together on the fiddle.